In my early 20s, I was full of ideas and creativity. I was talking nonstop, and I was inappropriate at work because I was always cracking jokes. I didn't realize I was hypomanic, but I also had lack of energy, lack of concentration. I isolated myself. I was first diagnosed as having postpartum depression. And when that didn't go away after a year, then the psychiatrist started saying I had unipolar depression. But I was only diagnosed with bipolar 1 when I was 35. So there were 15 years of what I would call minor illness, but I didn't know it at the time. I never knew that the journey would be so very difficult. I remember when I was first diagnosed, I felt that I was alone. No one understood, and people were starting to see that I did not have normal responses to certain situations, especially if it involved anger. I went way over the top. Once it progressed to full-blown mania, I couldn't hide it. I became outgoing, overconfident, the hypersexuality, shopping indiscriminately. My family was frightened, but I didn't see the downside of euphoria or bipolar 1 in the manic episode. So that eventually led to marital breakdown. My children didn't know, and we tried to hide it from them. Unless I was hospitalized, and all of a sudden they would come home from school and I wasn't there for 2 months. So within ourselves, we had a stigma in our family.
The first memory I have of my mom in hospital was when I was about 3 years old. I knew that she was ill, but at the time I didn't understand why.
When I did notice that she was depressed, I think she was still hiding so much of it. Like, she would still make sure I had dinner every night and make sure I had clothes and make sure I went to school, but she wasn't herself. I definitely remember her losing jobs, having to sell her car.
But at the time, I had no idea what bipolar 1 disorder was.
I was nonstop sick for the 22 years. I did stay consistent with treatment. I never went off my medication without the consent of my psychiatrist. So I just put my faith in the system. On some level, I knew that perhaps I'd be more sick if I was on nothing. It's because you're not going to get better on your own. You need to have some kind of intervention. I was in my mid-50s. I met my current partner, and that was huge because I'd always felt that I was on this journey by myself. So for the first time, I felt like I had a supportive friend, a partner, and gradually I just started to become more mindful, more present. And when that happened, my psychiatrist reduced my medication so I wasn't so sedated. I started cooking more. I started exercising. I started writing. It didn't happen overnight. But as I started to stabilize and progress and better able to cope and had more support, I no longer had manic episodes. And then all of a sudden, one day I thought, well, hey, I'm pretty well. I started talking to my kids about bipolar in depth when they were in their late teens, when they were really better equipped to understand what it was about. But now they're 33 and 34, and they're knowledgeable, they're supportive, and they even talk to their friends about me.
I definitely talk to my mom about bipolar very openly now. She does a lot of articles and lots of educating other people, which I support 100%. I think it's amazing. I think that everyone deserves to hear from someone who's experienced it and lived through it so many years.
Looking back on it, being a single mother, juggling the two of us kids, and also dealing with her illness, I have a lot of respect for my mom. I realize now that she's pretty tough.
I've been bipolar for 31 years and only well for 9. People might think, well, that's an awfully long journey. But I didn't have anything. Nowadays, there's webinars, there's self-help books, there's support groups, peer support workers. There's the old adage, ignorance is bliss, but it's not bliss. With bipolar, ignorance is equal to fear. The more you understand your illness, the more you'll be able to handle it and come up with strategies that work. I think self-acceptance is so important. Self-compassion. I'm very accepting that I have this illness. And with acceptance, I think there comes less suffering.